Biologica. Hello everyone, I want to beat Ghost Ship to their official Steam post on the roadmap. They just put one out that was a preview for the anniversary event, which I'm not going to cover because we're hot off the back of the anniversary stream. We just did a live commentary on it. It was pretty long. I enjoyed it. Tyler found it quite draining. Either way, big news, aka Season 4 roadmap. Well, they need to change the names of these things. It's not a roadmap if it's only for one update, right? It's a Season 4 outline. Barely, right? Because this is really bare bones, right? So, obviously, it's always good to see this kind of thing, but you sort of have the fact that it is later than it should be, if we're being honest with ourselves, and also it's just as sparse of a roadmap as before. It combines to create a rather unfulfilling meal, I suppose. But it's still the roadmap, and I think there are some good things in here to discuss. We're not going to discuss them today. I mean, I'm only just one man. I can't discuss. I can ponder through words, but I'm not going to. I'm simply going to be very informational here. So, Season 4 will be at the end of the first half of 2023, the end of the second quarter, so June. And of course, we have a new season. I mean, I feel like that's kind of implied. Obviously, a themed season with season challenges and season events, and it's not robots. Now, I don't see why I need to point that out, because the thing they need to point out, and they do point it out indirectly in a moment, is that it's both not robots and not rockpox. That's the important part. I feel like this almost feels like it was left over from the previous Season 3 roadmap. Right? Of course it's not robots. Why would they be coming back? I mean, why would they be coming back yet? Like, already. So they didn't really need to... Yeah, obviously a new performance pass. Yeah, no shit. That's obvious with a season. Yeah. But the juice. Now, I say juice. It's a bit thin for juice, but it's still the juice. New enemies. We had disturbing reports of previously unseen fauna down in the caves of Hoxie's. There's been no visual confirmation yet. Whatever it is, it's hostile and aggressive. So, new enemies. Now, new enemies is part and parcel of these seasons, but making it a... If anyone's familiar with previous roadmaps, the subheading New Enemies entails it being a major focus of the update. So... And you have things like the original Horrors of Hoxie's update, which brought a lot of things, I think, including the Bulk Detonator and the Warden and the updated cave leeches and all sorts of things. So, when new enemies is a point of an update, it means we're having our current pool expanded. And that's a really good thing. The focus is on bringing exciting new enemies this time. The focus isn't necessarily on... If you look at previous roadmaps... You know, Season 2, let's take for example, the focus was on new weapons, and the theme was actually sort of sidelined into just being a sequel to Season 1. Season 3, the main focus was on the rockpox as a concept. This time, Season 4, the focus is on new enemies, whatever they may be. Which means the theme will essentially be new enemies. That's how I read it, you know. It will probably be a specific type of a specific brand of enemies, but focuses on new enemies, specifically ones that are already on Hoxie that we're just finding for the first time. It's exactly what we want out of new enemies. Well, at least for Season 4 is what we wanted, or at least for the next season. You know, for a lot of reasons, for a lot of different ideas, there's good cause to come back to the idea of things coming from outside Hoxie's, but for now, we want to we want Ghost Ship to take sort of preventative measures to stop that from getting boring. You know, it was already a bit much when we sort of had 2 seasons of robots, and then the third season it was another thing coming from outside of Hoxie's. It's an extremely diverse planet. It can sustain as much content as they need. That's why they chose to focus on one planet and not have all the biomes split up between different planets. So, new enemies in seemingly traditional fashion of adding new enemies. And then when it comes to the other undecided stuff, this is a standard segment of the roadmap. You get it every time, but there's juice here as well. We'll be adding lots of extras as usual. We're constantly experimenting and trying out new stuff, so not all is decided yet, but we're really excited about jetpacks. Now, apparently they weren't just like, it wasn't a mistake, but they sort of joked about it not really meaning to be in there. It's meant to sort of tease us. They got something going on in this department. I would assume related to the main equipment edition, whatever that may be. Although if it's something to do with jetpacks, you would assume like new traversal tools, which the idea of jetpacks being brought up gives us more reason to go down that rabbit hole, but I'm not going to. My immediate guess when it comes to the jetpacks themselves would be something, a mission-related piece of equipment or an event-related piece of equipment, a la hacking device on the cleaning tools, stuff that we need for a specific activity in mission, not a part of our arsenal that we can customize and upgrade. Although I'd love to see that still. I don't see what else jetpacks could be. There's also no outlining of what the main equipment focus is going to be, and this is why this actually distinguishes itself from the Season 3 roadmap in they're equal in the amount of information, I'd say, but it's sort of an inverse of Season 3 did not. The Season 3 roadmap did not make any attempt to explain what the new theme was. All it did was explain that we were going to be getting new grenades. In this instance, the slot of the addition slot that grenades took up is left completely in the dark here, but we know that whatever the new theme is going to be focused around these new enemies. So it's sort of an inverse of the Season 3 roadmap, which means that it leaves a lot to speculate about, about what the new enemies might be, but it specifically leaves a lot to speculate about what new stuff are we going to get that isn't the season content, because we always get new weapons and new grenades. What's that going to be this time around? We have absolutely no idea. We even know that it's not going to be perks because they want to do more with perks than what, they could do just for, the next season. Which is why a pretty easy thing to land on is new overclocks, considering they've had a bunch cooking for a while. At the same time, they don't seem to be hot on that. They just know they're going to do new overclocks at some point. So it really is. We are really in the dark about that. And if it's just a bang of an update that brings a shitload of new enemies, that will satisfy me greatly, right? Especially considering we've got quite the wait. So if they want to just go hard with these new enemies and give us a massive selection to just feast on for a while, meaning they can focus on things like perks and overclocks, that's fine by me. I feel like almost getting a lot more meat in one area is more likely to make this feel like it's worth the wait. It's going to be 8 months at least from Season 3 to Season 4 launch, and it's going to be at least 3 months from now. So, in my opinion, one of the best ways to make it worth the wait is to actually go much, much harder into one aspect, rather than sort of leaving all of it feeling a little bit shallow, which I feel like Season 3 ended up being a little bit, having the event, the meteorite, feel very disconnected from the theme didn't help, and the rockpox, the warning felt very tacked on, but also obligatory, and the enemies were very shallow in terms of there was barely any new enemies. And then the grenades are obviously a very shallow piece of equipment inherently. I feel like Ghost Ship could do themselves a lot of favours by really going hard into these new enemies, giving us a sort of just freshen up the roster as a whole. It's really the best direction to go with this. I would love to see just a new enemy in every species, except the rockpox and the rivals, I suppose. That's what I'd love to see. New glyphids, new Macteras, new Nadocytes, new Curonars, possibly even a new species of Nayaka that can be in all biomes. All this kind of stuff that they could do. But we're going to have to wait a while to see. We got the anniversary event starting tomorrow. There'll be the Easter event around Easter time. We'll probably start getting teasers just a little bit after Easter, I'd imagine. So we've got a while to wait before we really get our hands or our eyes onto anything to do with Season 4. But we know it's happening in the first half of this year, at the very least. It seems as though it was sort of pushed back by their focus on the holiday events of recent. And it's sort of nice to know that that's actually the case, and they weren't just slower than usual. They've been doing something else, even though I don't consider the holiday events as important. There's this idea that if they can bring all the holiday events up to speed, it will make the game much more playable in between the 6-month gap they're going to have between seasons, which is an unavoidable thing. In this case, they've avoided the 6-month gap by actually making it longer. Now, the thing about that is it does break their original promise that they hadn't broken yet of 4 to 6 month seasons. This breaks that, and I feel like they need to address that with some kind, like, head on. It feels somewhat dishonest of them from them to not address that head on. To act as though that's not significant in any way is wrong, in my opinion. And it doesn't mean it won't be worth the wait. I mean, I feel like in quantity, the chances of it being worth the wait are slim, especially considering we know now they were putting a lot of effort into these holiday events, and the season 4 is really only starting to, like, they're really only starting to shift gears into that now. It's probably going to feel like a normal season. I would hope that it's, a little bit, just about, not by much, but still a cut above season 2 and 3, I would hope. And I think they're definitely capable of that. They just need to just do it, I think. So we'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, it's going to be a longer wait than usual. It is bitter. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. I love this game, right? I want more content as soon as possible. And I was settled on it would be every 6 months. Pushing that envelope further definitely hurts a little bit. It's not serious. It's still a game, but it still hurts. You want to see it do better than this, but I have no doubts about the quality of the content that's on the horizon. So I'm excited nonetheless, and can't wait to see. Although we're going to have to wait to see what that new content will be. Either way, that's all from me today. You can catch us tomorrow on. We're going to be streaming, obviously, the new anniversary event. Probably talking over what was revealed today quite a bit. And we'll go more in depth on the roadmap on the podcast, and we'll go more in depth on what was said during the anniversary stream itself on Saturday. So I just want to thank everyone as always, and if you enjoyed this, please make sure to LNS and ring the bell, whatever. This is news. I don't need to do that. Either way, thanks guys. I'll see you tomorrow.